The landscape is Arizona. 1873, from the clouds emerges a ship carrying hundreds of Mexicans that fall to the ground and try to take over. It weren't for those trusty cowboys. Illegal immigrants would have taken over Arizona.
Now, come on.
Would have been swamped.
Yeah, stop. I think these are not the aliens of which we are speaking.
Okay, because I could have sworn that this was an Arizona anti-immigration propaganda film that we were talking about here. Cowboys and illegal aliens. But you know what, man? This movie was hyped for over a year.
Yes, it was.
All right, Jon Favreau, what's he going to do for Iron Man 3? And he says, Jon Favreau announces he's not doing Iron Man 3 because he wants to do Cowboys and Aliens.
And everybody thought, like, okay, he's leaving the Iron Man franchise to go and do something better. I mean, you know, you're taking a Western, blending it with a science fiction flick, you know, an alien invasion. Why wouldn't that work?
Because aliens will kick the out of Cowboys. I mean, they got what, 6 shooters and the Indians got arrows and the aliens have laser beams and spaceships.
Don't forget about the lassos.
But after all the hype, after talking about all the cool possibilities with this, I have to say I'm a little underwhelmed by this film. I think they made something that was pretty straightforward where they probably should have been a little more creative with what we saw.
And especially introducing to this Daniel Craig character, because he's by far the most interesting character in this whole film.
Absolutely.
Only because there's this whole mystery surrounding him. But you do know from the get-go that he is a complete and total badass.
Daniel Craig plays a cowboy who wakes up in the middle of the frontier, doesn't remember anything, is brought back to town because what he doesn't remember is that he's possibly been part of a crime. When they bring him into town, lock him up. You know, some people like, you know, what's that thing on your wrist right there? But nobody's really like, damn, what is that?
Yeah,
You know?
because that's the thing is he's got this weird contraption on his wrist that he can't get off. He doesn't know what it is.
It's a pimped out Swatch watch.
Yeah.
Can't you tell?
You don't want to ask that guy too many questions. He will punch you if you do anything to mildly irritate him and you go, what the is that?
I say there, Sonny, that's a mighty good looking.
I heard he shot a man just for snoring too loud.
He shot a man just for admiring his jewelry. but you know, they lock him up and things look kind of bad for this guy. And they're about to take him away to federal marshal. And then as they're about to ride off in the carriage, lights come from the sky. The on his wrist starts to light up.
A spaceship comes in.
Yeah, and people start disappearing. Everybody's running around. And this thing on his wrist starts glowing. And he breaks free and he realizes, oh, okay, I don't know what this is, but whatever this is firing at us, I can fire right back with equal as much power. It's just that when you bring aliens in, I don't know, I felt like they could have done something more. And maybe it's because the middle of the movie was a tad bit slow to me too.
Well, there's a lot of problems here with pacing. I mean, they stretch this bitch out. And part of the problem there is because they're so determined to keep it a mystery for as long as possible what his story is, where he came from, when really it's completely like guessable.
But yeah, it took so long to see the aliens. I got to say, you know, for a movie that's what, 2 hours and 15 minutes or 2.5 hours, there's a good 45 minutes that could be cut and just push together, and not that much sparkling dialogue. And what plot is there? I mean, it's funny, it's a Western because it is so telegraphed, almost everything that happens.
The way they introduce Harrison Ford in this movie, he's pretty much the villain. And Harrison Ford does it well. The moment he turned around, like, what the hell are you looking at? I was like, all right, I thought he was talking to me. Nothing?
Well,
nothing?
I didn't think he'd have any trouble. Matter of fact, I was sitting there going like, does Harrison Ford act anymore? Does he just show up and growl?
Yeah, all these characters are cliches and stereotypes, but it's fun to see them form alliances no matter what. And to see all these different characters come together to fight these aliens was fun. And the creatures themselves, the creatures look cool. Out of 8 people pulling this script together, we got pretty much a run-of-the-mill Western. That's disappointing, but I'm not going to say that it's not an enjoyable film, but only on the level of a low matinee.
The thought behind the aliens, more thought went behind what they were going to look like than what they were about. Like when it's revealed their plan and why they're here, I was like, okay, and what else? For me, it's just a high rental.
A lot of things along the way that I thought were fun. I thought the aliens were awesome. I thought they were super cool aliens. And best of all, Daniel Craig and Harrison Ford together, actually I thought they had a lot of chemistry between the two of them.
Round up the horses, get some supplies. We'll set off first sleigh.
You're going with us. I need that weapon. It's the only thing that counts. I figure you owe me.
All
don't see it that way.
Olivia Wilde was just kind of standing there, really looking.
Yeah, man,
pretty.
she was
looking doe-eyed.
Yeah, I was like, yeah, you're hot, but do something. It's a low matinee for me.
Could have done a whole lot more by cutting out a good part of the wagon trail scenes, but it was still fun. And if you pay matinee to go see this, it ain't gonna kill you. If you want to go see a real Western, go rent a real Western. All right, there's plenty of them out there.
I hope that this isn't something that's going to be. It speaks for what they're doing with all the genre bending stuff. Now we got things coming out like Abraham Lincoln Vampire Hunter. I think they're doing like a Pride and Prejudice
Zombies.
versus zombies.
But I could see another Cowboys, like a sequel to this, like if they got it tighter. I mean,
Yeah, Cowboys versus astronauts.
Cowboys versus I think at one time you mentioned
werewolves.
like Cowboys versus werewolves.
Yeah.
White people don't want to recognize this. Everybody knows George Washington Carver killed the first werewolf with a peanut.
well, werewolves have big peanut allergies.
Yeah.